He's formed a strong attachment to you.
Welcome back, everyone. Like promised, it's Dr. Jackie here. I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist. We're going to talk a little bit about attachment theory using Grogu and the Mandalorian. If you're new here, like I said, I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist. I do videos commenting like this or using media to teach a little bit about psychiatry and child psychiatry specifically. But I also did videos on what training looks like, what the residency and fellowship options are. And so if that's interesting, I'll put the links of the playlists down below and at the end of the video. It would mean a lot to me if you subscribe, join the team, and leave a comment down below of the stuff that you thought was interesting in this video. So let's watch some clips of Grogu and Mandalorian, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about Dr. Margaret Mahler. Dr. Margaret Mahler was a physician in the early 1900s and became really interested in how children began to form a sense of self. And she did this by studying mothers and children. So Dr. Mahler proposed stages of separation and individuation after looking at the interactions that infants were having with their mothers. Just a sidebar, fathers are obviously very important, but what you'll see in the early studies is that they often focused on the mom and child. What I thought was interesting for Grogu is that he often was sleeping for most of the time that we first met him. After Mandalorian finds him in his pod, he's often asleep in his pod and not really interacting very much. Dr. Mahler's first stage that she proposed was called normal autism, and this occurs between birth and 2 months. And this is when the baby is spending more time sleeping than actually interacting with the rest of the world. Between 2 and 5 months, Dr. Mahler actually called this stage symbiosis, where the infant actually thinks that the infant and the mom are one fused whole.
If I can locate other Mandalorians.
It isn't until we reach the differentiation phase where Dr. Mahler described from 5 to 10 months, the infant starting to realize that there is an outer world versus just an inner self, and starts to realize that maybe mom and I are actually separate. And with that, you'll see Grogu, instead of being carried around all the time, being in the pod, constantly following Mando around, you'll see that Grogu eventually starts feeling a little bit more comfortable and will walk away. After differentiation, Dr. Mahler describes a stage called practicing. And hopefully you saw my developmental milestones video using Grogu, but check that out after this one because practicing therefore makes a lot of sense. However, with that exploration of the new outside world that we've just discovered, there is the next stage, what Dr. Mahler called Raproshma, which is when there is this conflict that you might see in infants. Obviously, they're still infants, and so they need a lot of support. So maybe physically, motorically, they're able to explore, but they start realizing that they might not be as independent as they would like to be. This stage happens between 1.5 to 2 years, and then 2 years and onwards, there is the stage called object constancy.
Stay right here. You stay. Don't move. You understand?
Object constancy is the stage when children start realizing that the people that they're attached to actually continue to exist even if they don't see them.
All right, pal.
Let's talk stranger anxiety and separation anxiety, which are evolutionarily very useful in the scene, which is major first day of preschool vibes, which is really cute. You can see that Grogu's kind of checking out Luke, who's the stranger, and then looking at his trusted human, which is Mando. for a reaction, for reassurance, for his responses, etc. So stranger anxiety usually happens or is at its peak around 8 months, and then separation anxiety actually develops a little later. Stranger anxiety is exactly what it sounds like, where the infant will be anxious about any stranger that they're not familiar with, and then separation anxiety is when there is anxiety when attached figures are not around. Hopefully that was exciting. If you haven't joined the team yet, subscribe, hit the like button, comment down below. It's always really exciting to hear from you all. Some that are interested in psychiatry, some that are just learning about it because you're here to support me, which I always appreciate. And some of you have found me over on Instagram. It's the same name, Dr. Jackie. Reach out to me with your questions and things that you would like me to see. I really appreciate those who've already done so. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you someday, and I hope that you have a really good week.